In this episode of Supercharging my Series 2 release even more, we hammer stuff, we drill stuff, we finger stuff, and we forget stuff. But first, we've got to move stuff. Now we've made a bit more room in the garage for activities. Welcome back. Not only have I had my yearly haircut, so I look slightly less homeless, I've also slapped some white paint on these walls just to brighten up the garage a little bit for filming. The music, that's also gone. If you remember that many moons back, you'll know that we're upgrading the supercharger on this, my Series 2 Lotus Elise. And without much further ado, let's get into it, get this clam off.
Don't touch me! I'm gonna pass out.
This platform, which is basically the Elise, Exige, VX and 220, are essentially fully flat bottomed, which is pretty cool on one hand. On the other hand, it means to do almost anything, you've got to remove at least the under tray. You can pick VX 220s up for 10 grand, maybe a bit less, depending on how ropey you want to go. I mean, what other flat floored mid-engine car can you get for that, really? I can't think of much. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other flat floored mid-engine car you can pick up for under £10,000 that I'm overlooking. Diffuser off. It's time for the under tray. Now the rear under tray is off, that's actually given us access to the points where we want to put our axle stands. I'll show you where they are. So the axle stand points are just here on the rear shear panel. There's two more further down. We're not going to use those because they'll be in the way. Then for the front stand points, it's just here. Just behind the wheel. And after the always slightly nerve-wracking experience of getting the Elise onto stands, we're now going to move to the back of the car and do everything that needs to be done in the boot. Or the trunk, if you're American. Don't forget a little washer in between to shim it. Or you could just drop it.
Wait.
Okay. Oh, surprisingly heavy. After removing the battery, I chucked the carpet and the sound deadening out, and this allowed me access to the 4 fixings at the back holding the clam down to the rear subframe.
The next day.
Now once all that's done, the rear wheels need to come off. I always put the bolts back where they came from, just to not lose them. That being said, these are having studs and nuts fitted. And then these bloody scrivets have got to come out to remove the arch liners. But we all know they're one of the worst fixings in the world ever. Once the arch line is out, you've got bolt here, 10mm, another bolt there, 10mm. There's supposed to be another bolt here as well, but that's obviously not been put back on my car at some point. Not by me. To be glued. There we go. Those aren't going back on anyway. Except on the left hand side, you need to pull your cables through from the boot. Girls and boys, don't forget your wash fluid bottle like I almost did. It just pulls up and then that can just sit there off the bracket. On the right hand side, the fuel filler surround goes through the clam, so that needs to come off too. Only it turns out I've got stainless steel fixings in this aluminium surround, so they're either rounding off or just completely stuck, which was fun.
A great success!
I think now that's off, it's time for a quick tea break. Now let that be a lesson in the dangers of using stainless steel hardware, such as this bolt, in aluminium, such as this surround. Problem you've got is galvanic corrosion from the dissimilar metals. It's not so bad if you can use some kind of anti-seize or other compound, but just raw dogging it, you could be in trouble, especially if you live in wet environments. So we'll do something about that when we put it back together. What we need to do now is move on to everything on the inside. Off camera, I removed the passenger seat, slid the driver's seat forward, and then removed the rear speaker panel. Now, I say off camera, just to make it sound like I did it on purpose, but actually I forgot to press record. Anyways, this allowed me access to the clam bolts that are inside of the vehicle. And with that, I can enlist the help of the long-suffering missus. Oh, lift. Oh. No. Yeah, that's okay. I never thought about the brake light. Just a quick one for anyone that's planning to do this work, but don't forget to unplug the rear centre brake light. But after a quick discussion, because obviously I didn't plan ahead, we finally managed to get the clam off and out safely. I explained to you why I'm actually removing this clam. So you can do the clutch or change the supercharger, you can do that with the clam in place. But being as I want to do both, and it gives me a chance to give everything a big clean up, it's just easier if I take the clam off. What that means now is I can get stuck in getting this gearbox off, getting that supercharger off. The problem is I'm sick, very sick. I suffer from a severe case of wire-in-there-itis. So I just can't resist. I'm going to have to get these roll bar stayers. I'm going to have to blast those and get those coated. There's a slight weep on the sump, so that's another thing to add to the list. Just a very light coating of oil and dirt. So that's a sump reseal. And then there's a few other bits and pieces as well that just need tidying up, so looks like we've got our work cut out for us. Which you'll see in the next episode. Now, I'm sorry there's been a big delay between this video and the last, but there is a reason, and that reason was to do with a fire, which I'll fill you all in on in a future video. But for now, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, it really will help going forwards, and see you in the next one.